Division I boys basketball. 21 straight victories have propelled the Delaware Hayes Pacers to their first ever trip to the state tournament. Is destiny on their side tonight? The St. Ignatius Wildcats, they're no strangers to the state tournament. It's their third appearance in the last 4 years. Is history on their side tonight? Our first OHSAA Division I semifinal is right now on Spectrum News 1. Now, what could be better than the OHSAA Division I state semifinals? Welcome, everybody. We are inside the University of Dayton Arena in Dayton, Ohio, as we get set to go. One of these two squads will play for a big school state championship tomorrow night. Take a look at the brackets that show you St. Ignatius and Delaware. The winner will get the winner of our second D1 semi tonight, where Centerville will tangle with the Whitmer Panthers. Great to see you, everybody. Glad you're here. Know you've come to the right place. No question about that. I'm Michael Regai. My partner is Dave Sacuti. All right, let's start with this Delaware Hayes squad. They're a basketball team, of course, that has had a fantastic year, Dave. A lot of big play potential. How are they going to fare, though, in their first ever trip to a state Final Four?
Well, you know, Michael, the Pacers have kind of flown under the radar all season long. They come in here riding a 21-game win streak, playing with a lot of confidence, and they're led by a senior by the name of Jesse Burris. Folks, he's a sneaky type of player. When the ball goes up in the air, he's got a high motor, high intensity, plays with great intensity. You'll love the way he plays, averaging close to 17 points a game, about 7 rebounds a game. They'll lean on him, Michael.
Instant bucket for Jesse Burris, and tonight's Stars to Watch are brought to you by Alt Care Health Plans. Now for this squad from downtown Cleveland, St. Ignatius Wildcats. No stranger here to this state tournament. Third time, Dave Sacuti, in the last 4 years. They're going to try to ride their man in the middle.
And Cam Joyce has a senior-laden basketball team. Got 9 seniors on the team, but this junior right here, Damon Fryery, has stepped in to help this team. A couple injuries have dictated he's got to play a little bit better, and he's done that here in the last couple weeks.
You're all set. You ready to go? It's time to decide who is going to work their way into an opportunity to win a state championship tomorrow night. We tip it off next on Spectrum News 1.
The OHSAA Boys Basketball State Championships are presented in part by the Spectrum News app, your community connection for news, weather, and live games. Download for mobile, Apple TV, and Roku today. By Baldwin Wallace University, a confident choice for exceptional learning. Learn more at bw.edu. And by Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited data for $29.99 per line. Join the millions that have already switched, and you could save big each month.
Don't you love all the hard work by everyone inside the University of Dayton Arena? Look how they've got the basketball configuration all laid out, and it's looking tremendous for the 4 squads in Division I as they vie for a state championship. All right, let's take a look at our starting lineups. They're brought to you by McAfee Heating and Air. And David, as we just mentioned, for the Delaware Pacers, Jesse Burris has had a fabulous year, and so has his teammate Landon Vanderwarker. These two got to make it happen now for Hayes to have a productive evening tonight.
I think you're right point on there, Michael. Good balance, but Burris and Vanderwarker are 2 guys they will have to lean on. Vanderwarker especially. He can step out. The matchup on him for Cam Joyce's team will be very important.
Yeah, 2 seniors, couple of juniors, and of course the sophomore. And Adam Vincenzo, the head basketball coach of the Delaware Hayes Pacers, Capital Division Coach of the Year. Why not? They won 21 straight, right? Going back to, what was it, the December 22nd loss, I believe, right before Christmas. They got beat by Westerville South.
Yep, they came back later in the season, and they've won by 20 points against Westerville South.
Yeah, so they got that taken care of, that loss, the only loss of the year for the Capital Division Coach of the Year. All right, how about the Wildcats of Cleveland, St. Ignatius? You look at this starting lineup, and you see the size. Damon Fryery, the young man that we mentioned in the open, the 6'10 junior, and Reese Robinson, the 6'8 senior. Are they able to use that size for head coach Cam Joyce to turn the game in their factor here tonight?
Well, I'm sure they hope so. They got good balance on this team, Michael. 4 guys averaging in double-figure scoring. That really gives them a nice advantage in terms of what they like to do at the offensive end of the floor. But defense is where they'll hang their hat.
No question about that. This is a strong defensive basketball team. And here's a young man who, I say young man, already this 5th season as a head coach of the St. Ignatius Wildcats, Cam Joyce, of course, one of the sons of the legendary State of Ohio high school head coach Drew Joyce.
Well, he's done a terrific job with this program. Has lost a lot of players during the course of the last 3 or 4 years, either transferring out, but what he's done is kept everything stable there in the program. And once you do that, you got a good chance to end up here at the University of Dayton.
Partner, I think that's a great way to say it. Stabilize. And that's excellent on your part, because that's exactly what he's done for this basketball team. So the winner here, it's an opportunity to play for a Division I state championship. Again, as we mentioned, the Pacers of Delaware Hayes, this is a new deal for them, a first-time environment. Dave Sakuti, I'm going to get you to our keys to the game. They're brought to you by Toyota. Go ahead, partner.
Well, for the Pacers, Michael, I think, number one, every offensive possession will be important. They got to value those possessions. No live ball turnovers can lead to other baskets. We talked about it in the open. You got to be us. You got to do what we do. Once you change off of that, you're going to have some issues. I think for the Wildcats, you got to make sure you get back to floor. You got to get matched up on their shooters. And more importantly, Cam Joyce would love the Pacers to feel their defense. They're going to get up and pressure the basketball.
Opening tip-off tonight brought to you by our good friends at Skyline Chili. From up top inside University of Dayton Arena. Ready to go as we get you to the hoop all evening long here on Spectrum News 1. Delaware Hayes Pacers winning that opening tip. This is Jesse Burris, that tough jumper for the baseline. Didn't go down, and on that glass for St. Ignatius, Jack Zapolnik. St. Ignatius, a basketball team, as we said, 3 state tournaments in the last 4 years. How about winning that regional final, David, by 3 over a very good Brunswick squad?
Yeah.
They were down by 9 late in the 4th.
Their turning run has not been easy.
Going to the hole for St. Ignatius was Jack Sapolnik. He had that rejected. Firing that 3 that's not going to go down is Jeremiah Russell. Couple of possessions for the Pacers of Delaware Hayes. This the second possession for the St. Ignatius Wildcats, dressed in their home whites here tonight. And coming into this one at 24 up, as we said, and only 3 losses. Damon Fryery thought about the 3. Fryery in the paint and got that floater to go down. The exploits, his offensive skills are multiple.
Well, good offensive possession there for the Wildcats. Good patience. A nice opportunity there to get a little floater in the lane.
Now that defense from Michael Lamaran that came out. Excellent ball rotation and firing that Delaware Hayes triple was Carter Pyatt Brown. Didn't go down for him. Ignatius watched to run the floor. Got a whistle, and we're going to get that jump ball. And the possession arrow is 6'8" Reese Robinson was battling as you get a look at Reese Robinson. 6'8", excellent size. And really is one of the main factors on the glass, has been all year long for the St. Ignatius Wildcats. Just underway. Glad you're with us on Spectrum News 1. Excellent defense there by Delaware Hayes, Jake Lohman. Off that ball fake and getting shut off baseline. Ignatius with a ball rotation to lead to that strong drive and going glass and getting that one to go down for the Ignatius Wildcats. Quinn Whitekey, and out of rejection at the other end, and the steal by Damon Friery. Friery went from baseline to baseline and delivered with a left hand.
Yeah, excellent move there. Got it with the left hand, but more importantly, getting the pressure up a little bit, trying to put some pressure on this Pacer team.
Well, we got a whistle, and it's going to be free throw line time for the Delaware Hayes Pacers. Carter Pyatt Brown, the 6'3" junior, will get to the stripe. So off that Friery make, right, we see that the Hayes Pacers said, we're going to get the basketball off the floor quickly.
Yeah, they play a little bit of that with kind of that Michigan State-ish feel, where even after a score, they're going to push the ball at you hard. That's why we mentioned Cam Joyce's team's got to make sure they get back to the floor and get matched up.
Carter Pyatt Brown, as you get a look at his head coach. He's a young man we mentioned, Adam Vincenzo. Pyatt Brown with a couple of makes from the stripe. St. Ignatius has this early lead. 6-0 run, though, ended by Pyatt Brown at the free throw line for the Delaware Hayes Pacers. They're going to go inside and go to the bigs, firing that deep three. How about the board for Reese Robinson? Robinson in traffic didn't get it to go. Stick back from Michael Lamoran didn't go. St. Ignatius just all over the offensive glass with Reese Robinson coming away with a basketball.
Well, two things are very obvious thus far in this game offensively for Cam Joyce's team. They were going to penetrate on the perimeter, but part of the big emphasis go the offensive boards. And that's what they've done here, at least in the few minutes that we've seen this team.
Got a good look at Michael Lamoran. This is a 6'4" senior. Let's take a look at the way the pounding the glass by the St. Ignatius front line.
Well, they've always been a good rebounding team, but more importantly, they've seen something in their preparation this week that they think they can get some offensive rebounds. Good athletes, good anticipation.
Lamoran with a couple of makes, 6'4" senior. Very strong on the defensive end of the floor. Ignatius up early by 6. Boy, that jumper from that left baseline from Landon Vandermarker got deflected. Vandermarker, again, keep an eye on him. Again, Jesse Burris, a lot of attention, rightfully so. Vandermarker has had a terrific year playing with Burris.
Yeah, very excellent on the inside and outside as well. How about the move to the basket? Yes.
Showing you exactly why Landon Vandermarker at 6'7" can do that. Put it on the floor, get to the deck. He transferred from Northside Christian. Firing that three and getting that to fall. St. Ignatius on their trip to the offensive end.
This is that 1-2-2 full-court press from the Wildcats.
A strong defense there that was played as going to the hole for Delaware Hayes was Jeremiah Russell.
A good take to the basket there by Russell, the sophomore. Not very big, but they got a big heart, real strong type of player.
Losing the basketball momentarily. Hayes will keep it. Now we got a whistle as that was Landon Vandermarker on that on the pass there. So Delaware Hayes will inbound the basketball at their offensive end. Ignatius by 7 here early on. And step through three from Delaware Hayes didn't go down from Jesse Burris. Excellent pass from Vandermarker. How about that shot rejection from Reese Robinson? But between Robinson, right, and Damon Friery, David, they protect that rim extremely well together.
Well, you see the collapse there and the good offensive in terms of the defensive stretch right there. Stepped out of bounds, going to give another possession here for the Pacers.
trying to keep the basketball, but not able to do so. Leads to a run out and getting that to go high off the window was Jack Zapolnik. And after Delaware Hayes, Jesse Burris had problems trying to come up with a basketball. And Adam Vincenzo said, we better talk about this. St. Ignatius is up the lead to 9 here in the first 4 minutes. I want to remind you, you can take Spectrum News 1 with you wherever you go. Do what millions of other users have done and download the Spectrum News app on your favorite device, including Apple TV and Roku. Get the latest news and weather and watch the live stream 24/7. Check out SpectrumNewsApp.com to learn more about the app and download it if you haven't already.
Well, offensively, the Pacers are out of sorts right now, Michael. They just haven't hit the shots they normally hit. Maybe it's kind of first game jitters at the Final Four, maybe. But you got to settle in. Those first 4 minutes are so important. You get yourself in a deficit like this, now you're fighting uphill a little bit, trying to find your way to get back into the basketball game.
Yeah, they've only turned it over one time, but so far, shot and the shot frequency hasn't been the problem, but it's getting the shots they want. As you take a look at Adam Vincenzo, Westerville South, the only one to get him. Then he reeled off 21 straight wins, and they won him by over 21 points a game. St. Ignatius will relax some of this pressure they put on. Pull up Jay and ring that up as, did Jeremiah Russell and the Hayes Pacers need that. Russell, the 6'4" sophomore, young fella, shooting confidently. Deep triple. That wouldn't go down for Ignatius as off the mark was Quinn Wojtke. Off that Euro step into the paint. Having that rejected was Jeremiah Russell. Leads to the Ignatius run out, and the stick back is going to go down for Ignatius Damon Friery.
Well, Friery has been involved in just about every offensive possession, either on the offensive boards or getting his runner to go. Jesse Burris.
Shows you what a talented offensive player he is with bodies and defenders running at him. He calmly stroked that three out of the deep left corner. Pace starting to pick up a little bit now as that three from Burris gets Hayes back to within a half dozen. Strong drive to the hole, but losing the basketball for St. Ignatius was Jack Zapolnik. Firing the three that isn't going to go down, but that throw-down smash will go down for Delaware Hayes' Landon Vanderwalker.
Well, you mentioned it, Michael. He's kind of the X factor for this basketball team. If he can get himself going, especially on the boards, could be a big benefit for this Pacer team.
Well, Delaware, hopefully, for them, maybe getting a little bit of a groove going. However, beaten by Damon Friery, 6'10", and he can put it on the deck, David. Get to the hole and finish. Firing that deep jumper from the baseline for Delaware is Landon Vanderwalker. Ignatius by 6. Got a whistle. As in the paint for Ignatius was Quinn Wojtke. Rising high, throwing that baby down for Delaware. Landon Vanderwalker.
Pacers have kind of transitioned defensively, a little more of a matchup type of zone at the defensive end of the floor. I think has kind of thrown the Wildcats off just a touch. But this young guy at the line and all their players, they got some veteran experience. They've seen it all.
He's had an outstanding junior year. Getting his first respite of the evening for St. Ignatius. Reese Robinson, the 6'8" senior. The 6'1" junior. And Wojtke at the line. He's got a pair to drop to bump the Ignatius lead Up to 8 now at 19-11.
You know, we talked about this pressure defense. It's annoying. They're going to trap you a little bit, try to just kind of get into you, make you think a little bit, and that's what they've done here, the Wildcats, in this first quarter.
Off the spin baseline with contact. A strong move from Chase Griggs, just a sophomore at 6 feet tall, but Griggs, David, got down on that baseline and aggressively used his strength to get a shot up and get to the free throw line.
Adam Vincenzo uses this young man off of the bench, puts in about 11 or 12 minutes once he gets on the floor. An excellent shooter, toughness, that's his thing.
Yeah. As you get a quick look there at part of the coaching Joyce family for David St. Ignatius. A couple of free throws missed. Like Delaware at the free throw stripe there. So we come inside 60 seconds left in this opening quarter. Ignatius, who on the year offensively will get tremendous production throughout their roster. Does head coach Cam Joyce.
Yeah, they got a high-powered offense. They average close to 78 points per game, and Cam Joyce going to take a timeout here.
So Ignatius is going to take this timeout here inside the 40-second mark left in this first quarter. David, how much stock do you put into, as we said, Ignatius' third state tournament appearance in the last 4 years, while Delaware again makes their first voyage into the Final Four in D1?
Well, I think experience counts. I think more importantly, kind of understand the process, and when you get into the Final Four, what the week is like. It's not easy. You got a lot of distractions. You got a lot of time management you got to deal with as coaches and as players. So how you handle that is so important. Obviously, as you mentioned, the Pacers their first time through. So I'm sure Coach Vincenzo has leaned on a lot of his mentors to figure out what's the best way to do it. But you still got to come on the floor and you got to play. And you can tell they've been a little tight here in the first quarter.
6'10" junior Damon Fryery of St. Ignatius off to a strong start, just like he played in the regionals.
Yeah, and he's got to be able to do that. He can get it to the basket. More importantly, he can stretch you out too. But right now, they're pounding the boards, getting those extra possessions.
So St. Ignatius by 8. And before they got that timeout, they were moving the basketball out around the half-court line and looking more like they want to play for this final shot of the opening quarter.
Yeah, it looks like it. They got their little high three-man motion here. Two of their bigs are along the baseline there. They're probably going to get some kind of ball screen at the top of the screen here in about 3 seconds.
Zapolnik got in the paint. 2 seconds left. Got to get the shot off. Firing that triple. Not going to get it to fall is Michael Lamoran, and that is how the first 8 minutes of basketball will come to an end. Strong first quarter for 6'10" junior Damon Fryery. 8 minutes in the books. St. Ignatius off with a strong start, leading by 8. Strong first quarter for the Wildcats of St. Ignatius. Third time they've been to this state Final Four in the last 4 years. And don't forget, we've got our second OHSA Division I semifinal coming up tonight when Whitmer will tangle with Centerville. Approximately about 8:30. There's a real familiar face. Anthony Stacy, the head basketball coach of the Whitmer Panthers, of course, former standout Bowling Green in his collegiate playing days. All right, so second quarter underway. Michael Regai alongside Dave Sakuti. Glad you're a part of it. We'll see what Delaware has in mind to try to get themselves back into it. They get the basketball to their main man on that strong drive to the hole, but not able to finish was Jesse Burris. Well, Burris draws a world of attention from the Ignatius defense.
Well, I'm sure the scouting report had him at the top saying, look, you got to make sure you got to stay attached to him all night long.
Ignatius up by 8 with their first possession here in quarter number 2. To go baseline hard was Khalil Johnson, who's on the floor. Johnson, the 6'2" junior, who comes off the bench. Firing that step back triple, and you can book that for Matt Ellis.
Yeah, the defender went behind that screen right there. He stepped back, got a nice little rhythm there, got that one to go down.
Ignatius has doubled up here. Outstanding reverse on that baseline, going from left to right for Delaware. Jeremiah Russell, just a 6-foot sophomore, get a world of playing time for head coach Adam Vincenzo. Ignatius with an opportunity around the rim and firing that jumper off the baseline that didn't go down. Reese Robinson pulling up the triple, and you can book that for Jeremiah Russell. Just a sophomore, Dave Cicutti.
Just the youngest player on this basketball team for Delaware Hayes. Maybe that's a good thing. You don't know what you don't know. You come in here, you fire, you're like freelancing.
Yeah. Well, Delaware has got their deficit back to 6. And that deep triple from Jeremiah Russell. Ignatius will put the basketball in the hands of Jack Zapolnik. He's a senior. A lot of playing time in the Ignatius program.
Sometimes, Michael, you just go ahead. You're going to get a good out in that pass from Jesse Burns. Got a little bit of an opening, and you splash it down. Good play. You let everybody know it as well.
6'10" junior Damon Friery wears number 22 in the whites, the home uniforms. And the Wildcats of St. Ignatius. So Friery is back on the floor. Sean Martin, a 6'1" senior with a basketball, running offense right now for the head coach Cam Joyce. Now trying to turn that corner in traffic. Quinn Whitey didn't get it to drop. On the push. Got a whistle. As Delaware's Jesse Burris was going to the hoop. You like Burris's game in the open floor. He's got a lot of pizzazz.
Yeah, got a little snatchiness to it. Really just kind of pushes it. Can wheel and deal in there. More importantly right now, Delaware Hayes doing a good job on the boards at the other end of the floor. Has created some offense for him here, Michael, at the other end. But Jesse Burris, an excellent player, has not got on track yet. But let me tell you, I've seen him play enough. He can get him in spurts, and he will work hard to do that.
And somehow I have the feeling that our good friend, Jeff Bowles, the head coach of the Ohio Bobcats, who recruited and has already signed this outstanding young talent, Jesse Burris, will put him to real good use in Athens.
Oh, yeah.
That runner in the paint didn't go down, but look at the offensive glass on that cleanup again. Damon Friery at 6'10", averages of 8 rebounds per night. And with Friery there surrounding the rim, Delaware throws the basketball away and turns it over.
Well, Friery's done a good job here, not only in the first quarter, but in the first 3 or 4 minutes here of just staying very active at the offensive end. Very talented player, crafty around the basket.
The winner tonight gets the winner of Toledo Whitmer and Centerville to play for a Division I state championship tomorrow night. Make sure you stay with us for that as well as our second semifinal tonight. That's an outstanding defensive play by Jesse Burris as he challenged Friery there and was able to deflect his shot. Trying to spin in the paint and no avail for the Ignatius Wildcats was Quinn Whitey. And quickly, Adam Vincenzo from Delaware is going to get that timeout. All right, during this timeout, David, let's take a look at how St. Ignatius is playing on the defensive end. They're really packing things in the paint.
Well, they anticipate so well at the defensive end. And that's a credit to Cam Joyce, getting them to understand. Good shot blockers can really kind of take care of the basketball at that end of the floor, keep people in front of them, and that's so important.
Yeah, we got the sense as we conversed and listened to all the head coaches earlier this week that for Cam Joyce and Ignatius, defense was going to be put, and the defensive end and the ability to play it well was going to be put at a premium, and not just against Jesse Burris.
Yeah, and you come into these games, you know what you're in store for. The teams don't get here because of just one player. You got to have a good team effort, and both of these teams here are well balanced. Jesse Burris stands out, but everybody can perform.
Delaware had their hands on the basketball a couple of times, but were not able to secure it. St. Ignatius on this possession, driving to the hole and getting that to go off the window. Matt Ellis, 6'1" senior, that quick throw out to the other end. And how about the ability of Jesse Burris to get from one end to the other, catch and finish?
Yeah, long outlet pass there. The ability not just to score, but you got to catch it first. Tough little catch, strong finish.
Both offenses looking to start to heat things up here now. Basketball loose on the deck. Last touch, Ignatius. It went off of Damon Friery. Give it back to Delaware.
The last 3 or 4 possessions defensively, this is what Delaware Hayes does. They're grinded out, tough, comes from that guy right there, Adam Vincenzo. They get on the floor for loose balls, find a way to come up with the basketball.
The Capital Division Coach of the Year, Adam Vincenzo. 21 straight games with his Delaware squad. Right before Christmas, they got beat by Westerville South. Since turning that corner, is that going to be a block or an offensive foul? It's going to be a block as Delaware was on the move to the hole with the basketball.
There's a movement to the basket right there. Good call by the officials. You can see, I think it was Fryer, he kind of slide in underneath the offensive player there.
Garrett Brown, a 5'11" junior, has checked in now. That long-range triple, it was halfway down, and I think Delaware's Jesse Burris is saying, how did that drop out? But again, off the bench, how about the stick-to-itiveness around the basketball from Garrett Brown of Delaware? It'll stay with Delaware. Basketball was lost, though, by Landon Vanderwalker. Back to Ignatius. Friery had to give it up. As we come inside the 2-minute 40-second mark, that's a strong drive to the rack. And finishing that with the left hand is Matt Ellis.
Michael, he's done that several times here. Coming off the bench, giving them great penetration. Not only that, but finishing at the basket as well.
Very much so. Gonna back his way into the paint for Delaware. Outstanding pass from Landon Vanderwalker. Not able to finish, though, was Jeremiah Russell. And now Ignatius will throw the basketball away and turn it over off the hands. Ezekiel Alfonso Terovez. St. Ignatius by 8. We're going to come inside the 2-minute mark on this trip to the offensive end for Delaware. Carter Pyatt Brown on the handle, but had it slapped away by Matt Ellis.
Yeah, the Pacers are fortunate to have it just within 8. This game could have got stretched out a little bit early on, so they're hanging in there, trying to stay in touch right now with this very, very aggressive Wildcat basketball team.
A 27-1 basketball team is Delaware this year. Beat Olentangy Orange in the regional final. Good look there, but would not drop for Carter Pyatt Brown. Loading up that triple. Went glass. Did Damon Friery at 6'10". to put 3 more on the board for St. Ignatius. Now they're putting a lot of pressure on the basketball against Landon Vanderwalker, the 6'7" junior for Delaware.
Things get a little chippy sometimes on the court. Nothing wrong with that, right?
No, not at all.
So 2 highly competitive basketball teams.
There you go.
A lot on the line.
When you get to this point, the state semifinals with only 4 left, you certainly are not adverse to being a competitor. Ignatius coming away with a rip. Going glass, didn't be able to get it to fall for St. Ignatius was Damon Fryery. Had a stick back opportunity that didn't go down either. As we approach 1 minute left, loading up the triple and raining that down is Jake Lohman. 6'4" senior just drained the 3.
Yeah, Lohman doesn't take a whole lot of threes. He's more of a 2-point inside the arc scorer, but he got that one to go down. And Joyce going to call another timeout.
I think, you know, this might be more about the defensive end of the floor.
I think so.
Joyce, huh?
Send a little message.
In the last couple possessions, maybe not pleased with his basketball team. The Ignatius lead is 8 with a notch under 45 seconds left in this first half. Great to have you with us tonight on Spectrum News 1. All right, Dave Sakuti, let's take a look at this St. Ignatius tournament resume. Has it been that long ago? It's been 23 years ago. They won that D1 state championship. Then 3 years before that, we recall, they were Division I state runner-up. But again, this is a program that down through the decades, as you see, they know what it's all about to get here to the D1 state semi.
Yeah, I'm just going to mention, you know, getting here is so difficult. The path you take in the tournament and the postseason, you're going to run into your region some very, very difficult type of teams and games, and you just got to find a way to grind it out. So getting here is an accomplishment, but trust me, all 4 of these teams, all 16 teams here, they didn't come here just to be here. Everybody wants to walk away on Sunday with that championship trophy.
Isn't that so true, huh? As you get a look at Cam Joyce, the ultra-successful head basketball coach of St. Ignatius. Ignatius with the basketball, and they will put it in the hands to run offense of Jack Sapolnik, the 6-foot senior. And that's Damon Fryery. Outstanding big. And it looks like Cam Joyce wants his basketball team to be thinking about last shot of the half.
Well, they did this at the end of the first quarter and got a pretty good look from outside the arc. This time looked like they're running a little different set here with about 12 on the clock.
Will they put it in the hands of Fryery? Not yet, they haven't. Now we're down to 5 seconds left. Look at the defense that is being played by Delaware. Way off the mark was Matt Ellis. And back, you hear the horn, will bring us to the end of the first half. Adam Vincenzo, the Capital Division Coach of the Year in Delaware, hung in after they were down double digits. All right, halftime. Good one going on here. The Division I state semis. St. Ignatius by 8 over Delaware.
The OHS AA Boys Basketball State Championships on Spectrum News 1 are presented by Baldwin Wallace University, a confident choice for exceptional learning. Learn more at bw.edu. By Spectrum Mobile. Save up to 60% on your wireless bill with the nation's fastest growing mobile provider. Join the millions that have already switched. And by the Spectrum News app. Watch live news anywhere, anytime. Explore stories that matter to you, plus the latest weather every 10 minutes. Available on all of your favorite devices, including Apple TV and Roku.
Nothing like a big school Division I semifinal Saturday here at the University of Dayton Arena. And if you're a University of Dayton fan, you will have no problem finding a large amount of merchandise that will suit your fancy. Great to have all of you with us. You see, it's the Wildcats of Cleveland St. Ignatius on top of the Delaware Pacers by 8. Michael Regai alongside my partner Dave Sacuti and all of our Spectrum crew. And David, Circle of Champions, most impressive during this semifinal today.
Yeah, just a great ceremony, and I think the High School Association does a wonderful job. You see Dick LeBeau, one of the best defensive coordinators that God ever created. And then, of course, Jim Tressel, the former Ohio State University football coach. What a great group.
Tremendous group. Carolyn Mass Doherty as well, along with Jerry Lane. And I don't think I ever told you, Dick was LeBeau, you know, Detroit Lion, man.
Yeah.
For 15 years, me born and raised in the Motor City. One of the real heroes of my Detroit Lions youth. Tremendous talent. All right, let us take a look at how this first 16 minutes of basketball unfolded. And Damon Fryery was excellent. The first half highlights are brought to you by Green & Sons Farm and Lawn Equipment.
Well, we talked about Fryery, and he got things going early. He had a couple drives. He got those 3 to go, and he added a little bank item to it as well. But here's a young sophomore, Mr. Russell. Says, I'm going to knock down my 3 at this end of the floor. I'm going to help this team kind of settle in a little bit. He did that. Got a good look for a 3 there, the Pacers did. More importantly, they're trying to stay in touch right now with a very, very difficult matchup in St. Ignatius.
Yeah, the field goal percentage may not show it, but they've been able to do exactly what you just said, to stay in touch. Our first half statistical story is brought to you by your Northern Ohio Honda dealer.
Well, the one thing that steps out there, you look at the points in the paint for St. Ignatius, 18. A lot of those offensive rebounds, but they really put an emphasis on getting the ball to the basket early off penetration, and then their bigs just kept crashing the boards.
Yeah, that they did, no doubt about that. When you talk about, St. Ignatius again, you saw Damon Fryery, and we've discussed him a lot here in the first half. And we haven't gotten Reese Robinson, their 6'8" senior, but he and Fryery have, on a few possessions, been very instrumental in walling off that paint and some of those slashing lanes to the rim that Delaware likes to employ.
Yeah, and one thing Cam Joyce talked about on the teleconference when we had a chance to talk to him this week was he thought they might have a little advantage size-wise, and he wanted to make sure they took advantage of that, and that definitely was part of the game plan, trying to get their bigs involved offensively, and obviously at the defensive end, they can really do some damage as well.
I want to remind all of you, the rights to this telecast have been granted by the OHSAA. Any rebroadcast or republication of the programming without the written consent of Spectrum News 1 and the OHSAA is strictly prohibited. Still at least 16 minutes of basketball to get this decided. And David, we kind of went through it a moment ago, but for Delaware to be able to get some easy opportunities, getting in the paint. Now, easier said than done. We're talking against Fryery and Reese Robinson, but ball movement as well as body movement going to be critical for them here in the second half?
I think it's trying to find the right shots for the right people at the offensive end for the Pacers. Obviously, Jesse Burris, if they're going to be successful in this game, he's going to be the one that's going to have to get them on track. He's got to knock down some shots, and he's got to be a lot more involved offensively.
All right, let's see if all of that stands true. It's St. Ignatius wearing their white home uniforms to have this first possession. They tried to go back door and be able to find Quinn Oike, but the 6'1" junior wasn't able to get his hands on the basketball. So turnover, St. Ignatius. Now they're going to pressure as we saw. And as they'll pick up three-quarter court and sometimes full court.
Yeah, just a little nuisance type of a zone defense there, but It helps, and you can see right there, they had to put the ball in the hands of a big guy, and it almost cost them at that end of the floor.
Well, bodies, contact, and a lot of physicality there. That's going to be an offensive foul. As going to the hoop for St. Ignatius was 6'8", Reese Robinson. Robinson there after the... Robinson's the one that picked up the foul for the contact there, as Ignatius was trying to fly to the rim offensively.
Here we go again against that little zone pressure there. Trying to see if they can handle the basketball. Obviously, Cam Joyce thought that could be beneficial for the Wildcats.
That Jake Lohman was able to handle, but then you see the carry by Landon Vanderwalker.
It's what that defense does, Michael. It kind of speeds you up a little bit and sometimes puts the ball in the wrong people's hands, creates turnovers. Been successful thus far for the Wildcats.
Well, we'll check this 5 on the floor. It's Jack Zapolnik handling the basketball, along with Quinn Wojtke firing the 3 off the mark for Michael Lemoran. Same 5 that started this one for St. Ignatius and Cam Joyce. We'll check Delaware momentarily. Trying to step through and get that out of here as Jesse Burris got rejected. Outstanding block by Reese Robinson, and it led to the drive to the hoop for St. Ignatius. And now there's problems after Zapolnik went and got the easy deuce. Again, trying to get the basketball inbounded has been a problem.
Yes, been difficult. But more importantly, as good as Jesse Burris is, what you try to do defensively is put a larger height player on him, and that's what they're doing, making it difficult for him to score at any spot on the floor.
Going strong off the window and cleaning up his own is Landon Vanderwalker. They get that 6'7" junior giving some offense. They're going to need it for them to hang tough in this second half.
Yeah, second chance points. Going to need those. They're not shooting it well. They only shot 33% from outside the arc and within the 2 in the first half. If you're not shooting it well, you better have some offensive rebounding.
Reese Robinson did not make a smart pass, had it stolen away. And look at Vanderwalker. We just mentioned him on the fly and finish at the rim with the opportunity for one more at the line.
Well, he got an opportunity there to get to the line, but more importantly, try to get this Pacer team with some momentum offensively, get them back in the basketball game.
Vanderwalker's got a chance to bring Delaware back to within 5 here. So you get a good look at this 6'7" junior that's so solid this year for head coach Adam Vincenzo. The lead now down to 5. Pressure on the basketball. Burris has got to rip away. Burris to the cup. Reversed it home. Here comes Delaware.
Well, the Pacers are on the run. They got the crowd behind them. Great contingent of Delaware Hayes fans made the trip here to Dayton, Ohio.
Closest they've been in a while. Back to within 3. Oh, it's strong to the hoop for Ignatius, and not able to finish was Jack Zapolnik. And this basketball is going to go back to Delaware.
Well, there's the steal. Jesse Burris making his way up the floor. A little razzle, dazzle for the finish.
Burris has got 9 to go along with 5 boards, and there you see the reaction from his friends and fellow students at Delaware High School. Getting a respite now is Reese Robinson, the 6'8" senior, back on the floor for the St. Ignatius Wildcats. Checking back in is Matt Ellis, the 6'1" senior. Deep triple. He had a good look at it, but Vanderwalker not able to connect. Turn that corner, going to the hoop. That's a strong drive and finish by Jack Zapolnik. Pressure on the basketball again. Gonna shoot it 3 times out of that deep left corner. And Jesse Burris, there was contact, and he'll get to the line. Zapolnik didn't think he got a piece of him, but he did.
Well, the old shot fake. Don't see a whole lot of it. Jesse Burris had one in the back pocket there. But you know, at the other end, Michael, I think, and we saw Zapolnik, he got himself penetrating the basket. Not only are they scoring, but they're drawing help, and it's allowing the Wildcats to get some offensive rebounds as well.
Burris hit the first. He's now got 10 on the night as you get a good look at this 6'4" senior that'll play his college basketball here in the Buckeye State for Jeff Bowles at Ohio University. He'll be a Bobcat in Athens. Stolen away. Into the hole. Rocking that rim. Landon Vanderwalker rising high. Run it down hard for Delaware.
Yes, sir.
Their crowd is into it. They have come back to now on this run, trailed by just 1. Stolen away on the rip for Delaware. Carter Pyatt Brown. Boy, a couple of stiff packs, and Jesse Burris got the second one to go down. Tam Joyce said, wait a minute, we got to talk to his St. Ignatius Wildcats. The Delaware crowd loving it. They have erased what was a double-digit deficit from the first half.
Well, a lot of good things happening. It's starting at the defensive end. The big fella got the crowd off of their feet. But more importantly, he's really got this offense kind of humming, and it's because of their defense. It kind of creates that energy you need. And boy, the Pacers have it right now.
Well, and their crowd is really letting them hear about it as well. They've got their field goal percentage up, David, to 38%. Remember, throughout the majority of that first quarter, they were languishing under 20% from the floor.
You know, we talked about it, and I think Adam Vincenzo at halftime said, guys, you know what we've been talking about all week? Be us. This is the way we need to play. We got to play loose, and we got to be aggressive. If we don't do that, we'll have no chance.
Stands to reason. Excellent shot rejection from Carter Pyatt Brown. A lot of contact there, and that's an offensive foul on Quinn Wojtke, the 6'1" junior of St. Ignatius.
So it's so important right now, as we see the charge there, that Delaware Hayes got themselves right back in the basketball game. But now you just got to make sure you settle in and do the right things here. Don't let this get away from you. You got the lead, take care of the basketball, get your quality shots.
Delaware one by one. You see Quinn Wojtke getting arrested on the bench of head coach Tam Joyce. That baseline drive, trying to get that to with that underhanded flip was Jeremiah Russell. Just a sophomore getting a lot of playing time. That strong drive that got shut off, firing the three was Michael Lamoran, didn't go down. Look at Delaware, look at the push. Contact. Count that! How about that? That left hand and Vanderwalker got it to go down.
Well, once you get into the open court, you find ways to score. Vanderwalker that time got himself. Going to show a little flex as well.
This is now an extended run for Delaware. The Pacers really got their crowd around the capital city of Columbus really enjoying it. A step back triple way off the mark by Damon Fryery. chance to add to the lead for Delaware. Basketball was slapped out of bounds off the Jeremiah Russell. I'm impressed with Russell. He's got a lot of playing time today from Adam Vincenzo.
Now, we talked about sometimes when you're a young player, you just come to play. But he's had an outstanding year as a sophomore and have an outstanding game here in a state semifinal game.
Cam Joyce going to his bench. He's going to get Quinn Woike, the 6'1 junior, back on the floor as a respite for 6'10 Damon Friery. Woike with a rip away. Went all the way to the hole. Didn't finish. We got a whistle as St. Ignatius all over the offensive glass. And that rebound was Reese Robinson, the 6'8 senior. And Cam Joyce really wants to get him going here in the second half.
Well, that's been their forte here, is get on the glass, get some points in the paint, be strong with the basketball. Jesse Burris looks like he kind of got bumped up a little bit. He's going to have to get a little treatment there on the sideline.
David, Reese Robinson, the 6'8 junior for St. Ignatius, got 9 boards, but has not got into the point column as yet.
You know, sometimes you do what you do best, Michael. You rebound the basketball, scoring will come. You're going to look for one right there. That time it's a turnover.
Yeah, he put it on the deck, thought he maybe had the baseline at his disposal, and lost it. Turnover on Robinson and Ignatius.
It's worth noting Jesse Burris is on the sideline here. How long will it take those trainers to get him kind of healed up, get back in the basketball game? They're not used to playing on the floor without Jesse Burris.
Right. Excellent hands and steal from St. Ignatius. That was Matt Ellis, the 6'1 senior guard, who came up with a rip away. Sean Martin, a 6'1 senior, wears number 25 for St. Ignatius.
Yeah, Adam Vincenzo, he's walking down the bench too. He's saying, hey, where is he? Can we get him back here in a hurry?
Yeah.
He's not even he's gonna go check in. He doesn't need anybody telling him to get back in the game.
We come inside, I hear you. We come inside, 2 left in the third quarter. That's a strong drive and finish at the rim for Ignatius's Quinn Woike.
That's when your status is high there, partner. When you just walk right by the head coach.
Yeah, that means you do have that major league status. Got a whistle as going for the basketball and going for the steal. St. Ignatius Matt Ellis. I think this should be a bonus. We're in the bonus, are we not?
I think it was
for
the Pacers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll shoot 2 here. You like that new rule this year in high school?
Rather than 1 in bonus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm going to say no, because even though, you know, you're going over the limit foul-wise, I would like to see still, you want the second, you got to earn the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the only other thing on the other side of the ledger is it kind of takes away the physicality that they had problems with injury-wise on the one-on-one. You got guys tussling and blocking out and pushing and shoving. So like you and I here on the sideline.
Yeah, more cause for contact, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The lead for the Delaware Pacers is 4. Know you're enjoying it tonight on Spectrum News 1 out of the legendary, venerable University of Dayton Arena. Well, a lot of contact there. David, have you noticed Quinn Woike? You know, he is not afraid of contact, or should I say collisions, as that's at least the 3rd time he's looked to go to the hole using those wide, broad shoulders of his, and that foul was on Jesse Burris.
I would just guess this young man here probably puts on a helmet and some shoulder pads in the fall as well. He's built for that.
Yeah, knows a little about the pigskin sport. Woike's got 10 with a couple of boards tonight. Can't convert though. And the lead stays at 4. running offense here. Jake Lohman for Delaware. Pretty pass. Burris, the Vander worker. His jumper as he was fading in the paint, went back rim. 60 seconds left in the third quarter. Well, what was I saying a moment ago again about Quinn Whitekey? And on that stick back, Reese Robinson got in the point column now.
Well, you keep working. That's what happens. Jesse Burris trying to dig himself into the lane area.
The Ignatius lead is 2. 35 seconds left, third quarter. Delaware going to hold this basketball. It looks like their head coach, Adam Vincenzo, is telling them exactly that. Let's get the last shot here in the third. Burris going to pull it back out. We'll start inside 10, which is right now. Burris tried to give it up. It'll stay with Delaware as he was, Burris was trying to go down on that baseline with his bounce pass.
Yeah, solid defense there from the Wildcats. Still got 8 seconds on the clock here.
Missing that chippy off the glass. However, that follow-up down as Chase Griggs, the 6-foot sophomore, converted there. Oh, they love it on the sidelines and in the Ruby section of Delaware. Landon Vanderwalker rising high, bringing it down hard. Delaware by 4. Tonight's game summary being brought to you by your Central Ohio Toyota dealer back inside the University of Dayton Arena. Michael Regai alongside my partner David Sakuti. Delaware, big third quarter, David. They go on top by 4, and they've got about 3 different of their offensive forces going now.
Yeah, and I think for St. Ignatius, I think offensively, they're trying to get Damon Fryery back off track. He's only got 14 points, and he got all those in the first half. So they need to get him involved a little bit more here in this fourth.
All right, 4-point lead in the basketball to begin quarter number 4 for the Delaware Pacers. Baseline spin, was nowhere to go. Outstanding defensive play. And now the foul. So Delaware's Jake Lohman, they got him the basketball on the low block, David, but probably forced that a little bit.
Yeah, just
and then compounded the issue.
Yeah, you just got to have a better feel for what you need offensively. Obviously, they tried to go to an isolation for him, but great defensive work there for the Wildcats.
Well, we'll check the 5 on the floor for each squad here momentarily as Ignatius will go to work offensively. That backdoor cut, but not able to drop that home was Damon Fryery as Reese Robinson hit him with that bounce pass on his charge to the hoop.
You know, Jesse Burris has got to get himself involved offensively. When he's got the basketball in his hands, he draws a lot of attention. It opens up a lot of opportunities offensively for the Pacers.
Basketball was slapped away from Jake Lohman. It'll be a St. Ignatius foul that is going to go on Quinn Whitekey, the 6'1" junior. Just about a minute into this fourth and final quarter. Great to have you along on Spectrum News 1 tonight. All of our Spectrum News 1 production crew doing their normal, outstanding job bringing this to you, leaning in. Well, that was a real tough look that Delaware's Jesse Burris tried to finish. Now firing a 3. And burying that home was Quinn Whitekey. Now Whitekey on the rip away. Whitekey to the cup, didn't drop. Robinson, offensive board, and stick back for Reese Robinson. The Ignatius crowd up and at it. Well, you can see Adam Vincenzo and his offense. David, even after St. Ignatius makes, they're looking to push and get the basketball in the offensive end.
Yep. And I think And I think a good timeout here for the Pacers. Obviously, when you turn the ball over at the offensive end, it leads to those three-point shots right there. More importantly, you get an opportunity off the penetration to get an offensive putback as well.
It's got to feel good for Reese Robinson, the young man, as we said, that his first field goal make here to put St. Ignatius back on top. 6'8" senior. A lot of size on that offensive glass for head coach Cam Joyce to go to work with.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about how you have to value possessions, especially in a big-time game, a lot on the line, trying to get to the state championship game. First three possessions for Delaware Hayes have not been where they need to get it. We'll see what happens here on this possession.
They'll put it in the hands of Jesse Burris. Burris off the spin. Tough jumper. It was defended extremely well by Damon Friery. Well, Burris, here goes what you're going to see in the college game, right?
Oh, yeah, you're going to get banged around.
Play for the Ohio Bobcats.
Oh, yeah.
And have a big, maybe 5 to 6 inches larger, that are challenging your shots. That three was fired by Quinn Wojtke, and the basketball hitting that baseline is going to go back to Delaware. Delaware head to the offensive end. They've got Jesse Burris on the floor with Jake Lohman. Also Landon Vanderwarker, the sophomore outstanding guard Jeremiah Russell. And that floater that didn't go down from Carter Pyatt Brown, but going to the free throw. Landon Vanderwarker is starting to make his presence known on that glass.
Yeah, we've talked about him as being about the X factor for this basketball team. He's averaging 15 points a game, a team leading 7.4 rebounds for Adam Vincenzo's team. But he's a gamer. He loves to be in the spotlight when we get to game time here in the fourth quarter.
Got a chance to bring his Delaware Pacers back on top here. As you get a good look at Reese Robinson. So Robinson will be replaced by Jack Zapolnik on the floor here. As connecting on a pair, Landon Vanderwarker. Vanderwarker now. He's got Delaware back. Back and forth we go.
Yes.
Leads changing here in quarter number 4. Let's see what St. Ignatius gets on this trip to the offensive end. They'll put it in the hands of Wojtke. Went hard to the rim. That's an outstanding look to a slashing Jack Zapolnik. Great pass by Wojtke.
Oh, yeah, interior passing coming from your perimeter guards among the bigs there.
Ignatius back on top by 1. Hang on, everybody. Get one of those magnificent finishes here in D1. That shot rejection came from Michael Lamoran. Heading to the other end, reversing that home. Jack Zapolnik. Lamoran made it happen with that shot denial.
Well, Cam Joyce talked about his perimeter guards, and he's getting some great play out of them here in the fourth quarter. But Vanderwalker says, give me the ball. I'll show you what you do on the inside.
Nice is that when you can high lob to a 6'7" talent like Landon Vanderwalker. Ignatius lead back to 1. We're inside 4 minutes left. That strong drive to the hole, but not able to reverse it home, was Matt Ellis. Free throw line time now for Delaware's Jesse Burris. And we're going to get a technical foul on top of it.
It looks like
Let's see.
There was a call there. He looked at the scores table like that's what he was going to do. But here's the move right there on the block from the previous possession right there. Jesse Burris. We'll see what happens over here.
So it might be on the Jack Zapolnik reaction to the foul call. There's Zapolnik.
What
Evidently, it's been called, David.
Yeah, Cam Joyce is asking for some kind of an explanation here. Here we'll get a look and see exactly what went on. There's the contact. Definitely a foul. But there's the reaction there.
And that's going to end the night as well for Jack Zapolnik.
Yeah, that's a big situation there because
that jumps up to 5 personal fouls.
He's out of the game, and not having him on the floor right now is a big factor. But more importantly right now, Jesse Burris is going to shoot 2 free throws.
Correct, and get the basketball.
And then we also get a technical foul scenario as well.
Correct. So Cam Joyce now is going to go back to Reese Robinson as Jesse Burris, the 6'4" senior All-Ohioan. Got one more coming, and he connects on both.
And these will be the technical
and
foul.
Here's the technical foul being shot by Landon Vanderwalker. David, you know, we're one free throw make from Vanderwalker away from 4 points going on the board here during this sequence. It'll only be 3 as Vanderwalker splits the pair. However, the lead regained by Delaware.
Yeah, the possession is also right now in the hands of the Pacers. Big swing there.
Jack Zapolnik just fouled out. Reese Robinson, does the 6'8" senior, does not have any more leeway. He's got 4.
Let's see if the Pacers can capitalize here at the offensive end.
Inside 3.5 minutes left. How about this sophomore Jeremiah Russell? Adam Vincenzo telling him, you run offense, sophomore.
Yeah, let him go.
He's been so impressive tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah, he got a big on him. They're a little mismatch situation. Probably could get a little advantage on penetration.
And again, Robinson's got those 4 fouls now. He just went for that steal. Having trouble is Jeremiah Russell. And the possession arrow is going to go to St. Ignatius. So, and he has. He's been terrific tonight, but there, Jeremiah Russell not able to get offense started, and it results in the turnover.
You got a little cushion here. You got a 2-point. It's been back and forth here in the second half.
You calling that a cushion now?
Right now, it's a cushion. Trust me.
I hear you.
So here we go.
Cam Joyce going to put the basketball in the hands of Quinn Wojtke. He'll run offense with Michael Lamoran with him up top. We're inside 2:45 left. Off the spin. That tough jumper in the paint would not go down for Ignatius's Damon Fryery. All right, you're up by 2. If you're Adam Vincenzo, you got it in the hands of your All-Ohioan Jesse Burris. How long you maybe want to take time off this clock before you start looking for something aggressive?
Well, I mean, if you just want to get a good quality shot, that's what you want to get. And if it takes 40 seconds, you do it that way. If it takes a minute and a half, right now, quality shots are important.
This is where all that time on the practice floor, right, is going to be one way or other for you, positively, negatively, come to the forefront. It's going to, right now, put Delaware at the free throw line, as at the stripe will be Jake Lohman. As that foul, St. Ignatius. Lohman at the stripe. He can up the Delaware lead to 4 here. It'll have to be 3. Cam Joyce. Son son of Drew Joyce, the long-time state championship head coach with Akron St. Vincent St. Mary, going back to the LeBron James days after Keith Dambrot was the coach.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got a one-possession game.
Yes, sir.
To see what the Wildcats can dial up here offensively.
On that hard drive to the hole, excellent pass, and finishing with the right hand for Ignatius Michael Lamoran. And right away, head coach Cam Joyce getting the timeout off this Lamoran finish.
Just great vision there, Michael. The ability to deliver a pass on time and on the spot.
As everybody gets a chance to catch our collective breath. Whether it's healthcare, the economy, education, or jobs, the issues are essential for all of us. Our lawmakers debate and decide on our future. Spectrum News 1 is there. All the way from the Ohio State House to Capitol Hill. We have teams covering it all to help you make sense of what's important. We eliminate the noise so you can make sense of what you need to know most. Gotta stay with all the news gatherers and providers at Spectrum News 1. Michael Regai, Dave Sacuti, our producer Adam Reinhardt, our director John Staley, all of our Spectrum News 1 crew.
Well, the most important thing here is get the ball inbounded, which they did, but you're going to see some traps, and we'll see what Delaware Hayes decides to do. They got the little cushion now. It's only a 1-point cushion, but we'll see what they do at the offensive end.
75 seconds left, and inside that, there's that double team trap pressure, and now the whistle. It's going to be an Ignatius foul that is going to be called on, I think, yeah, they got Reese Robinson, didn't they, the 6'8" senior?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to be basketball strong right now at the offensive end. Got to handle it with care, with strength, and find open people. That time, Delaware Hayes got their spacing was way off right there. Had 3 guys in a small area.
Well, this is exactly why Jeff Bowles, the outstanding head coach of the Ohio Bobcats in the Mid-American Conference, wanted to get this young man in the fold, 6'4" Jesse Burris, because of end-game capabilities like this.
Take a good look at the senior. An opportunity here to put the Pacers up to 3.
Hit them both. Still a one-possession game now as we approach 60 seconds left. Quinn Whiteheel run offense for Ignatius. Matt Ellis on the floor. Solid three-point shooter. Fryery went to the cup. It's finished strong with that right hand. Lead back to 1, 45 seconds left.
Good timeout by Adam Vincenzo.
Vincenzo had to, didn't he?
Yep.
Ignatius had exactly what they wanted with that double team trap on the basketball in the deep corner.
That's why coaches have to be so alert. You're almost the 6th man on the floor right there calling that timeout. Your players are down there, they're worried about handling the basketball. Good timeout there for the Pacers.
Yeah, to be honest with all of you, I don't know how long it's going to take to decide a winner in this one tonight.
Yeah.
However, we do know that Dave and I and all of our Spectrum News 1 crew will be here when the Whitmer Panthers will tangle with Centerville. Coming up at 8:30 on Spectrum News 1.
Now let me tell you, Michael, they're taking the ball out right in front of the Wildcats St. Ignatius bench. A very difficult spot to take it out, and you know they're going to see pressure.
What's Cam Joyce and Ignatius, what are they accenting right now in looking to make sure they get what they want here?
Yeah, they're going to use this half-court area to do whatever they can to try to force a turnover, come up with a steal. Once the ball probably gets across half-court, being down 1 point, they're probably going to foul once he gets across that half-court line.
Yeah. Couldn't ask for any more to decide an opportunity to play for a big school state championship here in the Buckeye State. Inside 40 seconds left. There's your trap again. Basketball ripped away once and twice. And was there a timeout by Adam Vincenzo that just before that basketball got ripped away?
Yeah, that's their last timeout as well for the Pacers, but it was almost to the point. If you didn't call the timeout, probably would have accounted for a 10-second count.
Well, it has been, of course, it has happened all year long, quite frankly. Jesse Burris and Landon Vanderwalker. They're combined for 38 tonight for head coach Adam Vincenzo. But again, that's no surprise to how Delaware plays basketball. Now, what the St. Ignatius bench, David, during this beginning of this timeout was asking about, what are we doing about time to get the basketball into the front court here?
Yeah. Well, this ball is going to be taken out right at what they used to call the timeline over there. And there's a reset from that standpoint. But again, we're back to that, probably the same scenario. I think St. Ignatius is probably going to pressure up, try to double team on the inbounds pass. But they're probably going to try to extend the game if they can't come up with a steal or something here by fouling.
I think you're spot on with that, partner. Let's see. There's your pressure. They'll put it in the hands of Landon Vanderwalker. Ignatius got the rip away. 23 seconds left, down by one, and Cam Joyce wants a timeout. And, you know, David, in the last couple of possessions, basketball out of bounds twice. It looked like difficulty was going on with Delaware, didn't it?
Yeah, and you know, we talked about it earlier. These are the situations you go to practice every day. You work a couple minutes on it, either during the middle of the practice or late game situations at the end of practice, and you got to be able to execute. The Pacers haven't been able to do that. Now they're in a tough situation here. They got to defend. You don't want to foul, but I'm sure Drew Joyce is going to draw up something really good right now.
Well, they've had some excellent moments offensively between Jesse Burris and Landon Vanderwalker here in the second half to get him the lead.
Right.
The problems, as you see that Vanderwalker hard throwdown. All right, so we're looking at 23 seconds left. If you're Cam Joyce and St. Ignatius, what are you looking for offensively here?
I'm looking for offensive penetration from the guards. They've done it all game long, and you got to look for Damon Fryery getting himself involved, probably away from the ball, trying to position himself to get some kind of post feed on the inside. Those are the two options right now for Drew Joyce.
Fryery, Reese Robinson on the floor. They'll put it in the hands of Quinn Whitekey. Michael Lamarand also on the floor, along with Matt Ellis. Strong drive to the cup, and getting at the drop, Quinn Whitekey. 7 seconds left. Ignatius by one. Firing a deep three. Missed it wide left. Stick back, no. St. Ignatius on the Quinn Whitekey bucket on that final possession will live to play in the state championship game.
Wow. What a great finish to the semifinal game here. The St. Ignatius players, exuberant. Delaware Hayes, they're stunned.
Well, St. Ignatius, in all those big game moments, they didn't flinch, Dave Sakuti. They had the basketball. They put it in the hands of the young man who, well, looks like he's a linebacker the way he goes to the hole when he's got opportunities. And David, let's take a look at Quinn Wojtke.
Well, we said there'll be some penetration. He didn't get much help as well from the defensive Pacers, but, you know, give that kid credit. He said, give me the ball. I'm going to take it hard. Here's the last look at the shot. We're way off the mark there on the three.
And St. Ignatius with, again, with all of the veterans on this basketball team and young men that have been in big Division I games throughout the course of their career. Use that to their, and again, they didn't flinch in that final possession.
Yeah, they got the ball. They got the ball in their hands, and as we talked about, he was going to dial something up. Cam Joyce was to get that offense clicking a little bit in that last possession, and boy, did they come through on that.
St. Ignatius student section and fan base obviously thrilled, and a lot of heartache for the Delaware Pacers. And David, you know, took the lead in the second half and played from ahead virtually throughout the entire fourth quarter.
Yeah, and unfortunately it came down to the last 2 or 3 possessions just trying to get the ball inbounded. But give Cam Joyce and the Wildcats a lot of credit. Game plan-wise, they put the pressure on them. They made it so difficult. The Pacers could not even get the ball across the midcourt area.
Partner, good job. We got one more coming up.
Yep, looking forward to it, Michael.
Yes, sir. That's going to do it in our first big school Division I state semifinal, where the St. Ignatius Wildcats on the bucket from Quinn Wojtke late beat the Delaware Pacers 54-53. Whitmer and Centerville coming up next. Now, for all of our terrific Spectrum News 1 crew and my partner Dave Zacuti, I'm Michael Regai. We'll hope to see you again coming up at 8:30 for Whitmer and Centerville. Till then, so long.